perspective on India's evolving defense strategy through his talk titled Strategic Approach in Operation Sindoor and Beyond. Over to you, sir.
Jai Hind, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having waited so patiently. I have to speak what's in my mind. So, to the scientists and the technocrats in the audience, to such outstanding people, over the last few weeks I've had the pleasure of interacting with Dr. Pillai on numerous occasions, had a similar conversation in Chennai. You give us the power to do what we do. Without the technology that you harness, notwithstanding that it will fail sometimes, sir, and the science that powers that technology, we would be unable to fight a willing fight, a capable fight, a robust fight, a fight that is worthy of fighting. You give us all of that. I want to start by asking you, what is a nation and what is a country? Are we even aware? Geography defines countries. Boundaries define countries. What is it that makes a nation? It's the vision. It's the common purpose for which we live, exist, breathe. Our culture must breathe that nationalism. That is when you will create a country. So who creates this country? Is it the teachers who teach us? Is it the blacksmith who gives us our smith works? Is it the doctor who treats us? Is it the nurse who provides the service? Is it our parents? Is it our scientists? Is it our carpenters? Is it our artists or musicians? Who makes this nation? My argument is very simple. Each of us and each of us in this audience and outside has a little stitch in this fabric that is called India. Now, what does nationhood actually create? It pours into this fabric that is India, the cement, the concrete and the steel that will make this fabric a nation. So here, all of y'all combine together to make it happen. But who stands at the center of it all? You've spoken about that poor man and woman multiple occasions this evening. It is that soldier. It's the hottest deserts of Rajasthan. It's the coldest climates of high altitude. How many of y'all have been to 18,000 feet? How many of y'all have stood outside at 54 degrees centigrade? And how many of y'all have been shot 5 times? That is the number of times I've been shot. So I'm at the pointed end of what you create. So therefore, sir, I've heard about your shockwave lab, and I look forward to seeing it someday. This is what makes it happen. Day in, day out, it's that soldier who stands there and does his or her bidding. The soldier, sailor, the airman, they all do their bits. But that's not what I'm here to speak about. I had the occasion to keep you people informed. I mean, I have Dr. Pillai's word for it, so I can speak on his behalf. When the BrahMos was created, it was loosely inspired by the American Tomahawk, which at that point was the best missile of its category. Quite simply, what you saw, what the Chinese have, goes like that, parabolic trajectory. The cruise missile goes flat, therefore can go faster. So currently, the BrahMos is the fastest missile of its category in the world. 1. 2. What you must know is all missiles have a circular error of probability, which means if I give this mic as the target, a circular error of probability is the missile will hit within 1 meter. If 1 meter is the circular error of probability. When the BrahMos was being designed, our Indian scientists said 1 meter, 0 meters. We will build a weapon which will go through the X on that exit board at the maximum range, and that is how it was built. Now the new version of BrahMos, which will hopefully come sooner rather than later, should fly at 7.5 times the speed of sound. And it'll land. It will remain as accurate as the current one. And what is the best part is that it will not use the existing satellites. There could be American, Chinese, Japanese, our own satellites for navigation. It will read the map as it flies over the ground. We've changed the benchmark on what happens with a terror incident. These are the strategic changes that have happened. I like to look at strategy very differently. I like to step back. In my job as the chief of strategy, my job was to look 25 years ahead. So to all those who work, teach and study at this institute, don't waste your damn time making a product which I'm going to use in the next 10 years. That product is already there in the market. I don't even like the word innovation. You know what I like? Creation. Create for me something that does not exist. Something that nobody anywhere in the world has written about, so you own the IP and thereafter we will sell it to the world. You talked of making money, sir. Good time to buy defense stocks. Please buy them. That's where we need to go. Create. But we have rewritten the code for reacting to a terror incident. This is a changed international order. In the 88 hours of conflict that unfolded, and in the aftermath of that conflict, how many other countries have stood by us? How many friends does India really have? I'm going to leave these questions unanswered, but it's time we ask these questions. So I didn't coin it. It's coined a long time back in probably West Bengal, Ekla Chalo Re. So this is a journey you will undertake alone. You and I and we as a nation will undertake alone, and we have to be prepared for it. Will there be failures down the road? 100%. 100%. That is why we need to indigenize. People use the word innovate. I'm saying create. We don't make in India. Make in India sounds very small. We create in India. We design in India. We think in India. That is my request to the scientific community. In the new international order, I'm arguing that it is probably time that India stopped contributing to peacekeeping operations of the United Nations Security Council. If the current head of the subcommittee on Taliban's activities is chaired by a Pakistani delegate, if the subcommittee on terrorism appointed 2 weeks back has got the assistant chair as a Pakistani delegate, and the permanent 5 have stood quietly and watched this, we don't need to be part of that circus anymore. So the last time I went to college was in class 11. After class 11, I'm completely uneducated. Yes, I'm a soldier. That's what I've been all my life. This is all that I know. So we talked of the game theory. So the butterfly effect is commonly referred to in the game theory as this little butterfly which flaps its wings in Venezuela or somewhere in South America, which a few days later creates a tropical hurricane off the coast of Florida. Now, sir, India is that small butterfly. The only difference now is India is A, not a butterfly, B, not small anymore, and C, most importantly, it has the ability to control and predict where that hurricane will come and what the outcome of that hurricane will be. We must just be aware of it. So it's like that little kid who's grown muscles and who's not yet sure how to show those muscles. We have the muscles, we should believe in ourselves. Our manufacturers, our inventors, our scientists, our academics, our brick and mortar industry, our software industry, we should just believe and have faith. I think the future will be shaped by this. Will that stop terrorism from being supported from across the border? Yes, it will. Yes, it will. We haven't been as swift, as brutal, and as vicious as we should have been. Now, for a Tamil Brahmin boy to speak like this, you might think it is crazy, but I'm a soldier. You trained me. This is what I know. And notwithstanding, sir, your arguments on the society of Pakistan, of course the society of Pakistan encourages, fosters, nurtures and creates these people. But everybody is afraid of his life. You come across the line of control, I will guarantee your death. This is a statement which should be made and implemented. Intent, that will must be there. Then it will stop. Now, there's a new normal. Our Honorable Prime Minister has said there's a new normal. And he's defined what a new normal is also. Now the issue I want everybody to understand is, for the Prime Minister to state as a public platform that there is a new normal, and for that new normal to translate into how the nation as a whole operates down to that last soldier who's standing at 18,500 feet will take time. To equip Indian armed forces for that new normal will take time, it costs money. Can you help by expediting the progress of the creation of a new weapon system which the new India may need? 100%. But it still take time, which is why we need to do it ourselves. Nobody is going to give it for us. There's a new display of power. So you said, sir, that from the parade ground of the Rajpath on 26 January to the battlefields of Kashmir, Akash was used. Outstanding. Outstanding. What the Akash did in this conflict was priceless. So that display of power, visible. Psychologically, I can tell you this much, from when I was commissioned, I've always been taught and told that the Pakistani armed forces have prided themselves on their air defense capacities. Smashed when we wanted to. The first day we didn't want to. The second day we wanted to, and it was smashed. So this is a myth that's been shattered. So psychologically, those of you who've not worn a uniform may not understand. The biggest damage you can do to an armed forces unit is to destroy their mind. Is to destroy the belief that they can fight with the equipment, the technology, the science and the support of the government. That has been done successfully, so priceless. Strategically, what have we gained? We've said, boss, no more restraint. Got fed up of this strategic restraint. We are good people. It's not gone away. We still have our parliamentary delegations going all over the world telling these white people, we're a good country. We don't need anybody's certificate. Today, India is at a position in the Committee of World Nations where we neither need anybody's support nor certification. It may serve a larger purpose, but to me as a citizen, I don't think it is required. You had the evidence that did it, you did what you said you will do, end of story, back to business tomorrow. Khatam. There is no need to explain to anybody. And then you have a silly Pakistani foreign minister across who's making ridiculous statements and we are responding to them. Seriously? Are you in this audience even willing to be equated with Pakistan? No. Fight with a worthy opponent. Why? If we do this, the hyphenation of India-Pakistan will keep continuing. We have to stop. There's an old that Chandamama comic or something used to come, and dogs may bark, but the caravan goes on. Pakistan is an insignificant and minuscule competitor in what India wants to be in the Committee of World Nations. We should not waste our time with them. I think that message, this is the starting of that message. The younger people in the audience will actually live to see this message fructify. Those of us who are in the last quarter of our lives will see from somewhere else. Calibrated escalation. I think we've shown the world what calibrated escalation means. So for those in the audience who may not know, on the very first day, you had an option of doing everything, but you didn't do it. You just took out the terrorist strikes, camps, the 9 of them. Technically, if Pakistan had not responded, Sindhoor would have finished there. But Pakistan responded the next day, to which there was a disproportionate response from our side. And with each strike of theirs, we lifted the weight of our attack. And the icing on the cake was what, sir, you worked on with Dr. Pillai and, the delivered free BrahMos right at your doorstep. That was the turning point. Because we had a lot more deployed. We had a lot more deployed in the Arabian Sea. We would have used all of them. Karachi would have been history. Imagine a giant hole in the globe where Karachi used to be. If that is the power that you're willing to create and display, and I'm not saying use it on a whim, conceptually it has to be clear as to the conditions under which it will be used. Thereafter, sir, like you said, I don't need a bulletproof jacket anymore. Because you said all I need to do is to press a button and go. So that's something we've displayed. Inter-service synergy is not new. It's fashionable to speak about it. Inter-service synergy was outstanding in 71. Inter-service synergy has been great all the time. This time, because of what we see in the media, it's a little more visible than before. But I think this time it's been displayed beautifully because the marriage of different systems to achieve the same effect has been displayed, awesomely. Long-term consequences, we will probably now start building a new national security doctrine. It takes time to build. And then takes time to procure for that, prepare for that, and train for that. But I think this seeds have been sown. We've called off the nuclear blackmail nonsense. It's over. Because the fact is today, it's not easy for a country just to use a nuclear weapon as a blackmail. They've done it for the last few years, since we both went nuclear. I think that bluff has been called because now we've identified a threshold. And within that threshold, we can keep doing this. And nobody is going to allow them to go nuclear. So, when you look at the strategic vision, one thing that is very important is an end game. So when the game is over, you should know how the pawns on the chessboard lie. Before the first round was fired, I am sure we thought we knew. Sometimes there will be modifications along the way, which you need to do, but your aim has to be very clear. The route to that aim may change, but that aim has to be very, very clear as to how is this conflict going to finish, and this is where I have an issue. Has it finished where we wanted it to finish? Or have I been left wanting for a little more or something more? Does that something more have to only come from military prowess? Not at all, sir. Turkey and Azerbaijan must be banned. All things Turkey. These were the two countries who publicly stated that they are friends of our enemy. By extrapolation, they become our enemies. Do we have the muscle to do it today? Yes, I was having a conversation with the chairman of one of the world's most valuable airline, and by far India's largest airline. And I was asking him when he's going to terminate his seat sharing agreement. He said it's a financial issue, and next day there was a diktat. No more financial issue, it's history, otherwise your airline will be history. We've traveled by train, we can travel by train again. We got to believe these things because we have to do it ourselves. Nobody is going to do it for you. Immediate actions which we need to do. Intelligence. Why did this incident happen? How did it happen? Why was there no response for about 21 and a half minutes after the first round was fired? To be investigated, not to punish somebody. Please understand, investigations are never to punish somebody or to hold somebody responsible, not even if it is RCB stampede in Bangalore. The lesson is that nobody else should have to go through the same thing again. That is the lesson we need to take, not just to suspend some, but that's not how it works. So that is the first thing. Second thing is, a lot of local support was there I don't want to get into it, but to execute an operation of this nature, tremendous local support is required. From guidance at the line of control, to taking them to a village, to logistic sustenance, to getting them to carry a reconnaissance of the area which is to be engaged, how to move out from the target area. Once you moved out, where do you dispose your weapons and how do you go? You take a bus, you take a train, we separate, we'll meet there, we don't meet, whatever else, A, B, C. A lot of local support. Obviously, we failed somewhere. We've not reached the hearts and minds of all the local people in that area. Somebody there is either not happy with us or not happy at all. That is something we need to fix going forward, because at the end of it, all of us wear this flag here. Worst will be if somebody needed for money, which is possible. So we need to analyze that very cleverly. International relations I've spoken about. We need to ensure that the TRF is banned. We need to ensure that Pakistan goes back on the FATF, the Financial Action Task Force. Is it likely to happen in the next 2 years? No, because Pakistan is now a non-permanent member of the UN Security Council. So you have to find other ways to make this happen. We have to use everything at our disposal. Every means at our disposal. This is something we got to think as a country. UN Security Council, I've already spoken about. My views are pretty clear. Long-term strategic relations with other countries we need to review. Russia in civil trucks, with sliding roofs, with concealed wooden platforms. They went to designated places, the roofs opened, the sliding doors opened, took off, used Russian cell phone towers for guidance and communication, and bombed Russia 6,115 kilometers from the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv, or probably 4,500 kilometers from the front line. That is the depth. Now, the weapon system is not new. What is new is the ability to think of new ways to use that weapon. This is where we need to encourage young minds to keep asking that question, sir, why? And then ask what next. So teachers have to allow kids to ask questions. Every question must be asked. Only then this culture will happen in our country and we'll become a nation. Overseas operational capability, do we need to build? 100%. 100%. We need to strengthen it and we need to build more of it. Miscellaneous, some issues. Militarily, spectacular victory. Why are we shy of saying it loudly? It was a spectacular win by any counts. From conception to execution and the ceasefire, everything was exemplary in its planning and its conduct. This will be studied for a long, long time. Let's not be shy of saying it and celebrating it. So therefore, I thank the Indian Institute of Science and Uday sir, your organization, Mysore Lancers, for coming together and celebrating this. We need to improve the manner in which we communicate with people. Sir spoke of one general who said it was not a success. Our speakers who come and speak in public, today we are not even just watched by the local media. People across the world watch us in real time. So there should be no ambiguous statement. There should be no, I intended to say, but however, therefore I said. There should be absolutely no conflict in the way you use your words. We need professionals here. Everywhere you need professionals, as in here, we made a few mistakes down that route. Second mistake we made is we made these mistakes overseas. The first people to have been briefed should have been our parliament and our press. Ergo, our country. But that didn't happen. Now, information is coming to us in bits and pieces from all over the world. So that is something we could have handled better. I think it's a lesson and probably we will learn it. Democracy, communication, we have spoken about. Last bit, sir, I've spoken about Pakistan. We need to think a little bigger. Pakistan is not even a worthy opponent anymore. So, soldiers are not supposed to speak. Soldiers are supposed to fight. War is bloody. So you showed us, sir, 10 photographs of war. What did you expect? What did you think, sir? That I will go and wage a war and the Pakistani will give me a flower? What do you think we do? Not you, sir. I'm just saying. What do you think we do? War, I'll tell you what I have done. But I'm not going there, sir. It's not about me. What I'm only saying, sir, war is bloody. No nation should go to war. Armies and armed forces do not exist to wage war. They exist to stop war from happening in the first place. This is the purpose of armed forces. Otherwise, sir, we will find not just destruction, but terrible destruction on both sides. Question is that the end game you want? Thank you. Jai Hind.